everyone, it's Carrie here. So I recently published an article which was sharing 5 things to try to help you to grow your business. And one of those things was all about guest blogging, because I think that guest blogging can be so beneficial to every single one of us in business, because I've seen amazing things come from the back of doing guest blog posts myself. So I thought it'd be really helpful to do an episode all about guest blogging and where to even begin with it all, and then steps to take so that you can start guest blogging really effectively. So I am really excited because we are joined by Jill Stanton, who is a guest blogging expert. She's also the founder of screwthe9to5.com. So Jill, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Expert. Ooh, that's a lot to live up to.
You are. Well, I think though, the first thing before we start talking about guest blogging and how to do it is to share some of your story, because it is amazing. So if you could give like a brief overview of what you've done, but then also how guest blogging has really helped your business, that would be amazing.
Sure. Okay, so my husband and I run a network of affiliate sites. So we have sites in skincare and beauty and weight loss, and then a few other random ones that promote just one product. But when we first started about 18 months ago, Josh has been in this world for about 6 years now, but I'm a relatively new rookie to the scene. So when we started about 18 months ago, we put up our first post and we sat there and waited for the money to flow in. Just like, all right, publish. Where's the cash? And it didn't exactly go like that whatsoever. We spent a few months not getting any sales. I think from about January to March, we had made 2 sales, and we were just getting really defeated with it all. And I remember just on one bleak March day in Toronto, which is quite common. It sounds really dramatic, but it was really suiting because we were just feeling so down and out. We were looking on a competitor's website and we saw their Write For Us page, and it just all clicked. We were just like, guest blogging! That must be the ticket, you know, like it's one way to mine our competitors' audience, but also get high-powered quality links that are permanent, driving back to our site, getting link juice flowing, helping us rank for certain keywords, and building our email list and building our social following. And for the next, I guess, 15 months up till this point right now, we just focused on continuous guest blogging, cranking out as many as we can, driving as many links as we could, mining as many audiences as we could, building our email list, building our social following. And up to this date, we've hit 5 figures a month and have been able to travel the world. We currently live in Thailand, and just keep building sites. And we started screwthe9to5.com in order to teach people all our tricks of the trade and help them screw the 9 to 5 and live a life they love. So that's Paul's notes.
I think it's an amazing story, because I think it's amazing that you spent like the first few months were having 2 sales, and that's the point where most people feel like giving up, and then you came across guest blogging and then it took off. So once you started guest blogging, how long did it really take to have an impact on your business?
We started in March 2012, and by April we had made about $1,100 that month. So by the end of April, and then by the end of July, we had hit $5,200 a month. So it was a rapid increase, really fast.
Wow.
It was really encouraging. And from there, we just started scaling. So it was pretty quick.
So with the guest blogging then, obviously I know that you have affiliate websites and you do reviews.
Yes.
So obviously not everyone's business is that model. So do you think that anyone in any industry can benefit from guest blogging?
Absolutely. If you have a website, guest blogging is one of the best ways to drive powerful white hat links. I'll explain what that means in a minute, that are permanent and quality, and most importantly, that Google loves. So what white hat links is focused on quality, and these links are usually coming from sites that have PageRank, which means they have been deemed non-spammy, which again, Google absolutely loves. So those are the main kind of links you really want to drive to your site. And with those, you can start to climb the search engines, gradually, but also quite steadily.
So obviously then one of the benefits of guest blogging is helping your website to kind of be more visible on Google, so getting up to on the first page of Google for your main keyword searches. But what are the other benefits of guest blogging? Is that the main one?
It's one of the biggest ones, that's for sure. That's the reason we started using it. But it was funny because in the beginning, we were only there for the link. That's all we ever wanted. You know, author bios, we never really put that much effort into them. They were just to get the link. But once we started hitting the bigger sites and people started clicking those links, we realized, oh my gosh, we could start mining this person's audience and, you know, growing our email list, growing our social following. Like, there's been days where we've written for big sites like, for example, Mind Body Green takes all sorts of posts. If you have, you know, a health and fitness site or weight loss or spirituality, personal development, business, travel, anything along those lines, they accept guest posts. So there's a random tip before we even get into the tips. So
I guess it's good for the credibility as well then.
Absolutely. It expands your brand out, your brand awareness. It helps build your email list, your Facebook following, your Twitter following, your Pinterest following, your YouTube, whatever you decide to link to within your author bio, it can help grow. Like, for example, when we posted to Mind Body Green, in one day our Facebook grew to, like, I think 200 new likes, which for who have busy sites like yourself, 200 might not seem like such a drastic increase, but to us who own affiliate websites, we were like, score! Not to mention all the newsletter subscribers and just general new fans of your content, which is great because you start endearing yourself to them, which means they feel more comfortable buying from you, which is just another added bonus to guest blogging. But guest blogging.
For all the people out there who have never done a guest blog post before, what are the steps that people really need to take to do it really well and to do it effectively so it actually gets them the results that they want?
Sure. Well, I have 5 basic tips that they could really use to start harnessing the power of guest posting. So, tip number 1 would be to create a dream team list of all the sites in your niche that you would absolutely love to write for, whether they offer guest posting or they don't. So, you know, if, for example, if I were in weight loss, I do have a site in weight loss, so one of my dream team lists would be Shape magazine, or, you know, I would say Mind Body Green, but they take guest posts, but, you know, sites like that, or offline publications that have a website that you could possibly contribute to. Compile that list, then set it aside. Then create yourself a second list, and what you want to do is, this would be step 2, P.S., would be to list a bunch of synonyms in your niche. So take jewelry making, for example. If your site is custom jewelry, I would use the synonyms of jewelry making, how to make your own jewelry, fashion, outfit of the day, accessories, any and every synonym that you can possibly think of that is relevant to your niche, even if it's a little outside of it, like outfit of the day, how would that be related to jewelry? But Google would deem that as relevant, so put it in your list. And then from there, once you have your list of synonyms, you want to nail down all your search keywords. So that would be terms such as write for us, or submit a post, or contribute, guest contributor, guest blogger, guest post, featured contributor, anything that you can think of. But the key there is to make sure that you use those keywords in quotes. So it would be quote, write for us. That way you get the exact match page that is listing the write for us page or the guest blogging page. And there you can use it to contact the site.
So you go to Google, or can you go to any search engine and put in those quotes?
Yeah, you could go to any search engine, but Google runs the whole world, so you're best off going with that one probably.
So then put in the quotes and then put in those keywords, the synonyms and the keywords.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So then tip 3 would be, once you've found a list of sites, you have to then vet the website. So one of the easy ways we do it, one of the most basic ways, is to take a look at the interaction. So are the posts on that website getting a lot of comments? Is the site owner interacting in those comments? Are people using any of the social share buttons? Do they have an active social presence? Are people interacting on those profiles? Like, Are people sharing their content through Facebook? Are people liking those posts? Are they commenting? Are they retweeting their stuff? Are they repinning their stuff? Are they liking their YouTube videos? Anything and everything you can, use to determine the kind of interaction and how much weight their influence or how much influence they have is definitely an option you want to consider.
Okay. So
and then
sorry, go on.
Step 4 would be to research the website. So one way I do this is to just read through their recent posts as well as their archives to see what sort of posts they like to write and what sort of style they like to write in, the voice, the tone. Do they like how-to posts or do they like review posts? Do they like humor? Do they like casual writing? Do they like more polished or professional? That way, when you go to pitch your topics, you are already pitching it in the kind of style that they already prefer. Which brings me to step 5, which would be to install Yesware and to create and perfect your pitch. So first things first, what the heck is Yesware? Yesware is an email software that allows you to track who is opening or not opening your emails. So you can see as soon as they open your email, okay, this person obviously saw my email, hopefully they respond. And if they don't respond, then you can send a follow-up and sort of stay on top of that relationship. If they don't open up your email, maybe a good option would be to hit them up on social media, comment on their site, share some of their content, warm up the relationship a bit, and then send them up a follow-up. And then my second, 5.2 point would be once you have installed Yesware, you want to create the perfect pitch. So how we do it is to find the site owner's first name. Use that. Please, God, never use dear site owner. It is completely impersonal. I get it a lot for my own sites, and it right off the bat shows that you haven't really put in the effort or the care consideration. Find out my name or the site owner's name. Yeah. So from there, you want to craft your email in a friendly and positive manner. I never ever try and make it too pushy. I always try and put the power in their hands and frame my emails in a way that shows that I want to provide value for their audience. And if I can please ask one last thing, it's to never ever push for the link. So you never want to say something like, and all I ask for in exchange for this post is one little link to my website. Like, it's so presumptuous and it just leaves a bad taste in the site owner's mouth, and it's something you never want to consider. So with that being said, craft your email in a polite and friendly manner. And I tend to pitch 3 topics. So instead of just giving one where they're like, oh, that's not really a good fit, you can give 3. That way they have options and could be like, oh, well, I'm not really a fan of 1 or 2, but 3 looks perfect. That way you increase your chances of your guest post pitch being accepted, and then you can move to the next stage, which is also where I think you can start negotiating for your link. Now, with that being said, normally you don't have to negotiate for links, because if you have hit up sites that actually accept guest posts, they 99% of the time are going to link to your site. So rarely do you actually have to ask for the link. You can just include it in your author bio and it's sort of a done deal regardless. But don't do it in the first email, please. Yeah. And that's my 5 tips.
I love those tips, and I think you're right with step 5, because I love it when I get emails from people with topics saying I could write these for you, and I'm like, brilliant. Yes. Because I can instantly see how that's gonna be amazing for my audience to read that. So I find it really helpful, and like you said, if someone writes to me, I'm always going to credit it back to them and add the link.
Exactly.
So it would never, I think for most people who receive have contributors on board, they would always do that.
Of course. And that's why I said 99% of the time everyone's going to link to you. I've had one instance where a girl didn't link to me and I was just like, that's kind of lame, but whatever, it's one post and you just sort of write it off and never write for them again.
Yeah.
But the good thing is when you provide really consistent, high quality posts, they'll more than likely ask you to post for them again, which means more links, which means their audience gets to know you more, which means more social followers, which means more email subscribers, which means more brand awareness, which means, you know, everyone's happy and everyone's spreading love. So
yeah, amazing. Well, I love all those tips. They are so useful. So thank you so much for sharing them.
My pleasure.
And if you want to check out more about Jill, you can head over to her website, which is screwthe9to5.com, and I will put all the links on below this blog post on the Female Entrepreneur Association. So definitely check that out. But I would also love to know what your experience of guest blogging is. Have you done it before, and what results have you seen? And if you haven't done it before, then why not do a little challenge over the next 7 days or something where you test it out? Because I think guest blogging can sometimes be one of those things where we really think we should be doing it, but we don't make the time to do it. So now is a really great time, because even just from hearing the results that you've got, Jill, makes me want to get onto it more and do more guest blogging. And I think we should all do it, because clearly it really is effective. So definitely try that out, and I will see you next time.